A few questions I still always regularly to this day that I get when people are watching the videos, especially because what still draws a lot of people to the channel is what were my old tips and tricks videos. A few questions are always how do I swing consistently quite straight? What way am I reading the greens? What's my thought process for approach shots, tee shots, the whole lot. So that's what we're going to be doing today. It's sort of like I don't want, as I mentioned in the previous videos, that this video was coming. I don't want to be calling them really tips and tricks videos, just how I play personally myself, what my thought process is, all that sort of stuff. If you do want to take any of what I do away from the video and try them out yourself and consider them as tips to help yourself improve, then by all means do call them tips. Before we get into it, what I'll do is, hopefully in the editing I can remember, I'll leave some timestamps up, so if you just want to, in particular, I'll definitely do it for putting, for the 3 putting methods that I use. 2 in particular, I'll leave the timestamps for those up if you want to just skip up to there and just catch that bit. But pretty much straight away for how I swing consistently, regularly straight. Now I'm not going to go into the detail of how I grip the controller. I did that in a previous video. It was one of the True Sim Challenge videos. There should be a card appearing in the top right, so if you're on mobile, mobile or PC or laptop, that should be appearing on the top right of your screen now. And at the start of that video on the first hole, I do describe in detail how I grip. Unfortunately, obviously with it being a True Sim round, there was no shot feedback, so I wasn't showing you visually what the swing was like, but you should see it hopefully in this video anyway. But what I do is, obviously I play with a version 2 DualShock 4. Now if you're playing with on PS4, if you're playing with the old original version 1 DualShock, you won't have this option, but I go into the PS4's settings, I go to devices and then to controllers, and at the bottom of that you should see communication method, and I changed that to USB cable instead of Bluetooth, so I always play the golf club and any first person shooter games with the controller wired. It just cuts out as much as possible any input lag, so that's what I do there. We're going to start off, I'm doing it in a society event in the Money Tour. This is the Ziegler Heritage, I think it's Ziegler anyway, at Fort Plantation. So straight away whenever I'm starting, I'm getting the early warning of what I can expect in the round, which is, as you can see, fairways and greens, they're both going to be normal. Green speed is going to be fast. Wind is medium, so I'm expecting roughly anywhere from 7 or 8 mile per hour up to about 12 mile per hour, and it's going to be an easterly direction, so we'll jump on in and we'll kick things off there. Right, so we've gotten the early warning, we know what we can pretty much expect, that greens and fairways are going to be normal. So in particular on the greens, with them being normal, like they're basically medium difficulty. I know that now the wedges and irons in particular, they're going to hold up pretty well. Any lofted shots should sit fairly quick. There won't be too much hop and roll. Got a nice 10 mile per hour headwind. So rule 1 that I always think, course management straight away, and always be assessing your shots. Like nothing really here in this, but weigh up your risk reward assessment, which we should get some examples of. I'm hoping maybe that I can get the full round in, but straight away there, because there's not much risk, I'll combat that 10 mile per hour headwind, and I will hit a fast downswing to try and gain as much extra yardage as I can, as I mentioned there, just to combat that wind. And that's going to leave us now with a 140 yards to the pin, up for 8 mile per hour. The wind's dying down a little bit. I'm going to demonstrate what is Hippie Stein's method of putting, which I did do 2 videos on. There'll be a card appearing on the top right, again for the shorter version of that video, if you do want to check that out if you haven't already. I'll give a very quick demonstration of that now. This green, it doesn't look like there's actually much break on it, to be honest, but straight away what I'm thinking now is we've got 140, it's up 4, so it's going to be playing about 141 to the pin, 8 mile per hour headwind, so you're talking maybe 149, 150 to the pin. So straight away I want to bump that up to a 9 iron, 148 yard carry. I don't want to be touching down pin high. I'm always thinking that I want to be coming up a little bit shy and let the ball hop and roll towards the pin. So with the headwind, the ball is obviously going to have a steeper descent as the wind holds it up. So I'm thinking I want to land roughly around about where these yellow lines are and let the ball hop up and hopefully it shouldn't sit too quick with it being normal. It's jumped up to, so we call it 150. Now I also have the option now, I can de-loft the 9 iron, or I can jump it up to the 8 iron and I can fully loft it. So what I'll do is actually I'll go with a little bit of a tricky shot. Hopefully it'll actually work out for a little bit of a better putt, and I'll crank the loft up on the 8 iron up to about there, and I'm now moving out. It's a pretty much straight on wind, but because I've fully lofted this, I'm expecting it. I'll reset it, and obviously see your swing plane there, the blue swing plane or blue shot cone, whatever you want to call it in the feedback. As I loft that up, obviously that is getting to be a very difficult shot now. So this is where error can really come in. The ball is a little bit, it's pretty level, but I'm considering it to be slightly below the feet. So I'm going to push out, and as soon as that marker is now dropping, that's where I'm going to stop, because the ball should push right off the club with it being fully lofted. So hopefully it works out. It doesn't throw me a curveball and go the other way. A little bit of a push on it as well, but it's tracking around pretty well, and touched down roughly where I was hoping. But because I fully lofted it, and in the wind I had a nice vertical descent, and it sat very quick with them being normal greens as well. But we're left now with a 7-foot putt, so I'm very quickly going to demonstrate Hippie Stein's method again. What it is basically, just if you look at the putting marker now, all we want to focus on is this left line that it's sitting on now, and we'll just speed that up. That right line there, those two vertical lines, anything in between those lines and the horizontal lines that are running left to right across the green, that's what we want to focus on. So the lowest point of this first horizontal line, now my golfer's foot is in the way, so might be a little bit off at judging it, but I want to get the lowest point of that line where it meets the left vertical line, which should be somewhere in and around about there, and where it's meeting the bottom of my screen. Now, depending on what you're watching on, it may be slightly off, depending on your aspect ratio. But now I want to look at the right line that's going towards the hole. So I'll put the marker onto it again, just so you know. So this line here that the marker is sitting on now, I want to look at that line, and I want to look at the grid line that I have along the base of the screen, and where the two of them are meeting, I want to go along that line, and I want to see how many times I can fit that line running along the base of the screen, in between itself and the base of the screen, in that little gap. So it looks to be, I'll fit it in once, so I'm going to give that line a number 2, because I'm going to count itself and the space in between. This is coming back a little bit the other way. Line it up again. It actually looks the way it is. There is movement on the bead there. It is actually slightly right to left. I'll give it a 1, because I'm not going to be able to fit another one of itself in between itself and the base of the screen. I hope I'm not coming across too confusing. And then for this one is coming back the other way, so line the lowest point up, which would be the right vertical line where it meets that point, and I'll give it a 1, so it'll be a 1 to the left. So we've got 2 right and 1 right. That's going to be 3 to the right, and then this is going to be a 1, so it's going to pull it back to be 2 right. Because it's not too far, if it was a long putt, I'd probably go with this extra grid line here as well. But now I'm going to come back out, I'm going to change up and back down, reset that marker to what it originally was, and I'm just going to go 1, 2, 2 little quick taps on the D-pad just to move it a little bit. And now I'm going to give it a 1 count. If this is just say for example, if this is a 20-foot putt, I give it a 2 count. So that would be if I go into the practice swing for a minute, and just imagine I'm taking the putt and it's a 1 count, so I'm going to go 1, strike the ball. If it was a 2 count, I'd go 1, 2, and strike the ball as I'm saying the T of 2. If it was 30 feet, 1, 2, 3, strike the ball, and so on, so forth. If it was in between, so if it was 25, I'd go like 1, 2, as I finish saying 2, then I strike the ball. So that's what I do for any of the putting methods that I use. I always use that, so we should be lined up pretty well here. And I'll give it a 1 count, so that's going to be, and the green speeds as well are 163. So we've got 1, and there we go. Now I did badly push that, as you can see from the feedback, but luckily it tracked pretty well. It did go a little bit off to the right, but that's pretty much, that's the method. If you check out the other video, you'll see the demonstration again. So I'm going to move on to the other putting methods in this one, and I'm going to try and squeeze in some other ways of reading the wind. So again, risk reward. I'm looking at this now. I've got a bunker off to the left, but with that wind, I'm going to aim off to the right hand side. I'm going to give it another fast again, which I didn't get. So now it's going to not come around the way that I want it. Potentially in the rough. No, we got a little bit lucky there. As you can see, that was bordering to be on a fast downswing, but I could have easily got maybe another 5 or 6 yards out of that to combat the wind, but we just a little bit too slow. But it's going to leave us with 193 up 4, so playing about 194. Wind is a bit more of a crosswind. Now there's different ways of reading the wind. You've got the circle, and you've got the tap method, and then you've got the flag marker. So we'll go with the tap method combined with the circle, and we'll see if we can pull it off. So generally what it is for the tap method, have a look. The ball is pretty level, so I'm not really going to worry about that. It shouldn't affect it too much. Instead of just tapping out 9 times to the wind, I'm going to tap about, what's half of 9? 4.5. So we'll say 13 times. So again, just on the D-pad, just little quick taps, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You can see that flag marker rising up. Now what I'll do, if I'm using the circle method as well, I'll come up and each grid square. So we see where that flag is. If I can scroll across, I'm gonna have to reset it in a second. But the center of each grid square. Each grid square is at 1 square yard pretty much. So the center of each grid square I'm gonna go across for a yard. So what I'm hoping, if I can reset that again, I'll get as central as I can, which should be there. So we'll count it out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Hopefully I should be roughly about 9, 10 grid squares out. So if I'm counting from the hole, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we're pretty much about 9 to 10 grid squares out to be in line with the center of the grid, the aiming circle. And hopefully, I don't mind if this goes long. We're just more looking for tracking. Let me actually just really quickly, because I meant to turn it on. Display and HUD, just so you can see as well for other shots. Turn that ball trail on. And let's see now if this pulls around. Now that's saying still 9 mile per hour. There we go, the meters filled back up. Right, let's see how this one goes. It's been a while since I did this one though. A little bit of a push. So probably won't come around fully, but you can see it pulling back around. So if I didn't push that, that was actually dead on the hole. Now I won't describe it here because, well actually no, I'll show my old method, which I do go back to sometimes. Basically what I do, rule of thumb as well for any putting method, straight away as soon as I get on the green, flag marker in, or the flag stick in, down into the worm cam, so using triangle, and then just the left stick or whatever stick you use to swing, bring it down into the worm cam. If you're on Xbox, it's obviously going to be Y, or PC if you're using the controller Y. If you're using mouse and keyboard, I don't know what the control is. Unfortunately, I don't know what the button maps are. But basically what I do from my old method, it's not a very good example here, but pretty much, break-wise anyway, but pretty much what I do is I'll just use the opposite stick, so for me the right stick, just to pan the camera back and forth. And what I do is I just slowly move the camera forward, and as it's moving forward, I'm using, in my head, I'm just tracking and watching the grid lines, and I'm trying to picture what way I feel the ball is going to break. So for me, I'm just going to do that, and I'm just going to trace out a line in my head. And with this break, I mean, it looks like it's going to be no more than just a right edge. So hopefully I'll play a few more holes with this method, and we'll see how we get. Again, I've reset the marker back to its original position. A little 1 count, and it's gone in nicely. I went out a little bit, I didn't need to go out as far. I did go through the break fairly quick. But hopefully a few more holes we can get a rough idea. So here's a good example now, par 5, it's 600 yards dead onto the pin. So I mean, I'm not really going to reach that in 2. We've got a tailwind, so we're pretty good off the tee, provided we don't get a major slice or a push. The worst, hopefully, outcome would be bunker if we were to push it. Our minimum worst outcome, there is a lot of water there. But what I'll do, again, for me personally, this is what I do, is I'll aim over here and I'll take a gamble, depending, because obviously the wind is angled, but I'm going to fully left and hopefully get fast this time. There we go, we got the fast. So as you can see now by the ball trail, that was really coming back around to the left, so water and bunker are completely out of play. We're nicely into the fairway. The touchdown, I think it was about 315 there, so we knocked a good chunk off the hole, 331 total, and leaving us with 273. So the green is reachable, but again, now I want to look up the risk reward depending on the conditions. We've got good conditions here, good tailwind. It's 273. 2 wood can get there. There's not too much in the way of hazards if we do miss. We've got a few bunkers, yeah. We might possibly end up off the green, just a little chip or a flop on. Depending on the green and the pin position, if the pin is well guarded, I'll back off and I'll lay it up and flop or chip it on, or pitch it on, depending. Just get away with the birdie. Main objective is to keep those bogeys off the scorecard. So I'm going to go for this in 250 or 273 to the pin, call it 265 with the wind. So greens are normal, playing playing fast, 163. If it does go long, it'll probably leave us with a mid-range putt, hopefully. Ball's a bit below the feet, or a bit above the feet and a bit of a downslope. So this should, it definitely reach the green anyway. Just a perfect downswing, a little bit of a push again, not getting the controller perfect. So it's kind of holding a bit straight. Kicked off a little bit to the right, but again it's a par 5. Got a great distance on it, so it would have been left with a mid-range sort of putt. But we've got a little chip up. Chip shots, I never worry too much about tempo. Tempo doesn't really affect it apart from just trajectory, but distance-wise it doesn't really affect it. Your distance, so if you're a bit slow, it should still get the same distance. But I'm going to give this about a half, 3/4 shot. So there's full. It's a little half shot. Chip it up and let it run. Runs up nicely to the pin. So have we got a little bit of break this time? Right, I've got a little bit of break. I'll do that method again. Markers default at 6 feet. So what I do again, I'll say I'll do this for a few holes. I just do that, just move nice and slowly, and as the camera's moving forward, I'm just looking at the bottom of the camera. As soon as the bottom of the screen, as soon as the bottom of the screen touches it, I'm just tracing along and just picturing the path the ball is going to take. Again, looks like no more than just a right edge. So a little 6-footer, tap it in and let it go. Let it just take that break. What I'll do now for this hole is I'll try and get a little bit of a longer putt to demonstrate it again. We're only on hole 4. I'm possibly only going to get 9 holes in, so because I don't want it to go on too far, but I'll then skip up to the end of the round for something else that I do. So we've got par 3, risk reward again. We've got 2 bunkers, and we've got quite a bit of water, and wind wants to push it that direction towards the water. So we've got a good risk here. It's 167 to the pin, so straight away the game's defaulted me on a 172. I'm going to drop us right down to an 8-iron, 160. 9 mph wind. I'm not going to take full 9 off because it's angled, so I'm going to go about, I'll take about 6 or 7 off it. Could go completely wrong, but say it's playing dead on 160 to the pin, so obviously I want to come up shy. I'm going to put a bit of loft on it. Now I'm going to use the marker method. I put a bit of loft on that. I'm going to go to that marker, just moves up a little bit. So as you can see, it's just moved up a little bit. Now with a bit of loft, it should push out a little bit to the right, and then the wind will bring it back in the rest of the way. Decent swing. Again, a little bit of a push. I'm pushing them tonight. But now this is leaving us with a good demonstration of that putting method I've just been showing off. Good lengthy putt. That's what I was hoping for, to be honest. So right, we've got 22 feet. It's 1 inch down, and we've got a nice good left to right. So flag marker in, and again, just gonna slowly move the camera forward and just trace out that line in my head of the path I believe the ball is going to take, and then I can better describe what way I'll do the marker then. So let's move it forward. And for me, from here, just doing a quick demonstration, it looks like it's going to break out. The way that I traced the line, as I was moving along, it looked like it was going to break down towards that second line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to push it out to the second line to the left. I've reset the marker. Okay, so the marker's on 23 feet, so I'm going to give pretty much just a 2 count. So just 1, 2, just a little bit over. Should start to turn. It's a little bit too firm, but I read it well. I read it very well. I was just a little bit too firm on that putt, and I'm still going to walk away with the par. That's another little thing that I always do as well, is I treat every hole, just play every hole, play for par. And I find that I get a little bit of better performance, or taking a little bit of pressure off myself on that. Another thing as well with the majority that I always play is society events, I don't look at the leaderboard. So as you can see, this is a society event at the moment. I haven't looked at the leaderboard once. I know I've seen scores at the start. The scores were pretty well, or pretty low. I think it was 7 under through 7. But in the rounds, I never look at the leaderboard, because that, again, if I'm playing competitively, if I want to be near the top, that's going to put pressure on me, because I'm watching that score get lower and lower and lower as the round goes on. Now, this other player could have, even though it was 7 under through 7, could have easily had a horrible back 9, and which makes it a little bit easier to get closer, but I don't know. So that's, again, as I say, taking a bit of pressure off me. So I left with 76 yards in, so it's going to be a pitch shot. Got the 8 mile per hour wind. Wind will affect your pitch shots, so I'm going to drop that back to a 68 and let it hop and run, because it's pretty level. It's running a little bit left to right. Ball is pretty level at the feet. I'll just go a little bit out. Keep it pretty much straight up. Let the wind take it. As you can see, it's coming a little bit to the left. Green's being normal. It's not going to hop and run too much. And that's left us with 5-6 feet. 5 feet. Again, I don't need to get down into that camera again, so it's just a right edge. I can see it straight away. Little tap to get it there, and in she goes. Right, I'm going to move on to, I know I demonstrated there for the wind, the aiming circle, and the taps out. So it's always 150%. Usually it's always 150% the value of the wind. So if the wind is 10 mile per hour right to left, you'd tap out 15 times instead. If it's 20 mile per hour, that's it. That's a round that I'd quit, but you'd go out 30 times. If it's 5 mile per hour, half of 5 as well. Well, we say 6 mile per hour, so you'd tap out 9 times. So add on 50% the value of the wind. So we're going to go on to the flag marker method now. So let's get down the fairway. Tailwind. We have the potential now to run out even with a perfect. So we can bend it around the trees. I'll put a little bit of draw on that, a couple of taps of draw. Hopefully that should be enough. Give it a perfect. That's a beautiful swing. It's pulling around the trees nicely. Ooh, just creeps over the top of that one and down between the branches of that one. So that was a beautiful tee shot. But just always remember, just think of your hop and roll. I mean, the firmer the greens are, the more they're going to hop. If with normal greens, wedges are probably going to hop maybe a yard, and depending on the slope of the green, check up after about 3 yards maybe at most, depending, as I say, on the direction of the wind as well. With a tailwind, they might push a little bit further, but if it's a headwind, they're going to come more straight down, so they're going to check up that bit quicker. The longer the club that you're using, obviously you're going to have more. So we're left with 103 up 5, so let's say it's playing 105 yards to the pin, 9 mile per hour tailwind. Ball is pretty level. I'm dropping it down to a lob wedge, and I'm going to go a little bit of loft just for that hop, not too much, just knock a yard or 2 off that. Now I'm just going to go, where's that flag mark? That flag marker is just very slightly starting to dip. I don't know if you can see it in the video. Just very slightly starting to dip. So as soon as that dips, I'm just going to stop right there, because the wind is very slightly angling. With that little bit of loft should help it. That's a decent swing, and as you can see by the ball trail, it is coming slightly. Didn't come around as much as I thought. Ooh, and that's a fine example actually, which I did forget, which I completely forgot. I know I put a slight bit of loft on it, but with wedges, and in some cases your short irons, your 8 and 9 irons, you don't need to take actually the full value of the wind off. That's a little error that I did there. With wedges in particular, a lot of the time you'll find all you need to take off is about 75% of the value of the wind. So we just say, for example, the wind, well, bang on, make it easy maths wise, was 12 mile per hour. So 75% of 12 is 9, so you take off 9 instead of the full 12. So just say, for example, it was bang on 100 yards to the pin, perfectly level. You had that 12 mile per hour bang on headwind. So what did I say, 100 yards, that will be, you'd be taking off 9, or yeah, 9 instead of 12. So it's going to be playing about 91 yards to the pin. But whereas if it was a longer club, you'd take off the full 12, and that would be 88 yards to the pin. So you can play around it, you get a feel for it, and you'll start to know what way your clubs are going to be. But we've left ourselves a little bit of a chip shot here. So this should be about 3/4 swing. It's breaking right to left. I'm going to treat it like a putt, get it to hop, and then just touch down and then run up to the pin. About 3/4 swing. That might have been a bit too much. But as you can see there now, fast backswing, slow downswing, didn't actually affect the distance whatsoever. So tempo doesn't really come into play when it comes to chip shots. Just left with a little bit of a... Not really. I wouldn't even say there's any break there, to be honest. Just push it straight through. Right, what I'll do now is I'll have a look at this green just before we approach in, and I'll show the current putting method that I use during all my videos at the moment. So left to right, I'm going to push it with a fast, let it counter that wind and get as much yardage out of it as we can. So it's going to carry to 296, 297, that's ran on. Let's have a little look and see what the green is flowing like. See if I can get a good putt to demonstrate what I do. And just as I see, okay, so it's going to run. Alright. So what I do for this method now, I'm going to use the flag marker method again for the approach, is when I get on the green, the first thing I want to be looking at, you remember earlier on in the video I said about the 2 lines either side of the hole, left and right of the hole. I want to be looking at them. As soon as it loads up on the green, I want to be not focusing on one, but just letting all the beads between the ball and the hole flow into my head. I want to be looking at them all at the same time. It's a bit difficult to describe what way you do it. Think of it as a piece of music. What I always say to people, no matter what the genre of music that you listen to is, don't focus on one. Don't focus on just say for example rock music, don't focus on the drum beat, don't focus on the guitar solo or the bass. Just let it all sink in. That's the best way that I can describe what I'm doing when I'm looking at the beads. As soon as I see the first bead getting in line with the ball in the hole, I want to know where the rest of the beads are, and that's pretty much going to draw the putt line for me. So hopefully I can get a bit of a good example of it now when we get onto the green. So we've got 158 in, 8 mile per hour left to right, little bit angled. So I'm pretty much, because the greens are normal, I'm not going to touch the loft on this, but what I'm going to do, ball is a good bit above the feet. I'm going to go out till that marker starts to drop a little bit. Maybe just pull it back in, because the ball is going to go left off the club. Hopefully I've got this one right. But to be honest, the longer the putt the better. As you can see, it's tracking around nicely now. Should touches down nicely, and then it's just going to hop and run up. So I want to look at these beads now straight away. And right away, because of the speed that the beads are going at, it's not really going to be a major break. No more than halfway. I always say half, 1.5. So halfway or half out is halfway between the cup and that left line. That line left of the cup. 1 would be the line itself. 1.5 then obviously halfway between the first and the second line, so on and so forth. So it'd be no more than half out. Just give it a 1 count. 1. And ooh, it didn't actually turn as much. Right, so we'll see if we can get it now again in the next hole. We're just approaching 30 minutes. What hole are we on? We're on 7. Right, so we'll see if we can get another one. It was a little bit slower. 163s. I was thinking a little bit of a different green speed there as well, but I was a little bit too much on it there as well, with it only being, what was it, 7 feet or something. Right, par 3. So again, par 3 risk reward is especially for long par 3s like this. So this is pretty much a 200 yard par 3. Pin is pretty much attackable, but you want to be coming in the left side. Obviously you've got that severe slope there, but just imagine for a second that we were approaching in from this angle. Now the controls are going to be all messed up because I've turned the camera, but just imagine we're coming in from here, and if I can get the marker to move down, which way is the marker going to go? Oh, it's not going to move, actually, yeah. But just say, for example, down pretty much where the left-hand side of that, not marker, aiming circle, where the left-hand side of that aiming circle is, if it was down in that hollow there, it's well protected by the bunker. And if it's a long par 3, fair enough, we've got that big slope, we can play for that slope to bring it back down. But just imagine now if the green was relatively flat. Is it worth maybe coming off to the side and 2-putting for par, going long and 2-putting for par? Mainly you don't want to be getting in the bunker and potentially plugging and potentially getting a bogey on the scorecard. I'm always thinking, do I want to, what way am I going to get this to get a bogey or get bogey free for that hole? Just get away with a par. We've got 199, 9 mile per hour wind. So for me personally, 199, I am going to play off out. I'm going to let the marker go up. I'm going to give it a fast downswing to counter the wind because I'm in between clubs now with the wind. Because obviously I'm going up to a 5 wood. So fast to combat the wind and bring it back around. There's the fast. A little bit of a short swing as well there. It's coming right around. And it counted it too much. But again, I'm nice and safe. I get a little flop or a chip on. I'm expecting to be coming away with par on this one no matter what because of the position of the pin. So I'm going to go with a little flop shot. Fully lofted. And just give it about half swing. So just about there. And just let it run itself up. That's not too bad. Could have gone a little bit more. I only got 75% power on that. But I mean, I've left myself now with a 5-foot putt for par. That's the main thing. I'm looking at the beads. And again, that looks like it should only break no more than half. And we're in for the par. So I'll try now. Hopefully we have a little bit of a better green. A little bit of a more level. Levelish green, but with some decent break. Right, we've got par 5. It's reachable yardage wise. 525 yards to the pin. Got a headwind. So again, I want to hit that fast downswing. Which, with the angle of the wind, should hold it relatively straight. And because of where I'm aiming, keep it away from that bunker. But if I was to hit it perfect, that's going into that bunker all day. Right, oh, now I'm after getting a very fast air. It was a bit of a glitchy swing. But at least it has drawn it away from the bunker, so I'm not worried. I've still gotten 293 yards out of it. I probably wouldn't have gotten much more, to be honest, with just a regular fast. We've got a 9 mile per hour crosswind. That's a nice bit of slope that I can potentially work with. Again, risk reward. We don't have any water. We've got 4 bunkers, green side, so that's pretty much the worst outcome unless we really go off to the right and end up in the heavy rough. So I'm going to attack the green. 253 to the pins, playing 252 with the elevation. And I am going to take a gamble shot here. Again, I'm going to fully loft it. It's not really going to do much to take yardage off if there was no wind. Loft won't really do that, but with the wind, maybe with a slightly angling, just push it out. If it can hold it up just 1 or 2 yards, that'll help all the more. Go out till that marker pretty much almost fully dropped, because obviously I'm using a longer club now. Fast downswing, it's holding it a little bit straight, but it is coming back around to the right. Now can it use that slope? Ooh, right, so we've got a nice good line. This is where I'd actually prefer to come off the green, and it looks like it might do. But again, it's a par 5. We're on in 2. There wasn't too much risk reward, so it was worth the chance of going for it. This is going to be a tricky putt. Straight away, what I'll do, I'm outside the grid. I'll switch up, and I'll bring on the lie grid, nice and level around the hole, or around the ball. I'm going to get into this camera, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to do now a combination of the two putting methods that I've been describing. And I'm having a look. It's not too severe around there. I'm looking at the speed of the beads and how much it's breaking. Fairly level. So now I'll do the little trace. It's going to break off pretty much about there, and then the trickle its way back down. Because it's a par 5, I'm on a 2 for an eagle. If I can drop it in for eagle, all the better, but otherwise I'm happy enough to get it close and walk away. So it's saying 1 foot down, but it's going to go uphill and back down. But I'm going to give it what the marker says, about a 4.5 count. I'm going to play it pretty much straight because it's going to go off to the right and then come back to the left. I think it breaks a little bit does it break a little bit left to right towards the hole? I'm mixing a little bit left to right, a little bit right to left. So we'll just play it straight, and the aim is just to get this one close and get away with the birdie. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and hit the ball. Takes that right, and now it's coming back, but it broke more to the... Ooh, I overhit it. It took the slope too much. Alright, so we're giving ourselves a bit of a challenge. Oh, is it coming back down? It's nice to see the way that the screen is going. But it's amazing when you're recording that these shots don't play off. But now, again, I'm looking at the beads. I'll put that pin in. The bead that is closest to the hole is the one that's hitting the hole first. Now I'm concentrating on the rest. And for me, with that little bit of right to left there, this is going to break pretty much just before the green line. So now my aim is, because I screwed up that putt, my aim is escape at the par. Keep the bogey off, I'm happy. I'm playing for par on every single hole, even if it's a par 5. So this is going to be about a 2 count. 1, 2. Turns a little bit to the left and turns back. Oh, it just went a little bit further out to the left than I thought it would. So we're still escaping with the par. And I've got time for one more. We're 36, coming up on 37 minutes. I'll play one more hole. And then what I'll do is I'll skip up to just finishing off the round, just for one more little thing of what I do. But I mean, we're 4 under through 9, that's not too bad. I usually aim for 5 under on the front 9, and then 5 under on the back 9. I'll just go perfect off the tee here. So we have got a big bunker down there that is in play. And if I was to hit it very fast, I'd potentially going over into this bunker on the left, because it's definitely within range with the wind conditions. So we've got 63 yards up to, we'll just call it 63. Actually no, we'll call it 64, because it's closer to 3 foot up. So 64. We're on a good upslope here, so I'll get a little bit more vertical momentum off the club with it being on that slope, because of the angle of the club. 6 mile per hour wind. I'll play a 57, try and get ourselves a little bit of a mid-range putt again. Let's see what way the break is. I'm going to focus on them beads as soon as I get onto the green. So full swing, not too bad. Pushed it again though. Now if I can stop for me, that'll do there. Right, so I'm going to look again straight away at the beads. Alright, straight away that bead nearest the hole was at the was in line with the hole, but the one in front of the ball, the middle bead, was pretty much about there. So I'm going to aim roughly there, and that should be good, hopefully. Don't screw this one up. It's downhill, 1 inch 8 feet, so 1 turn, and then we go. There's the centre of the cup. That's pretty much what I do. So if you're watching any of the other recent videos, and any videos after this one where I do have the grids on, if it's not a true sim event, go on, I'll play this hole as well. That's basically what I'm doing when I get onto the green, and then I'm saying, right, it's half out, 1 out, 1.5, 2, so on. So again, we've got water down the right, big, yeah, that bunker is not really in play, that one there, so I won't worry about that. Good wide landing area, fast downswing, should be more than comfortable. There's the fast, pulled it a little bit this time. I'm overcompensating the push I've been given, but I've got a good big wide landing area here. Doesn't look like we're going to have too much in the way of hazards for the approach into the green, which again is a par. Oh, this is actually a long par 4. So now, obviously I want to get on in regulation. We've got 262 to the pin, crosswind, 253 is the 2 wood. So with them being normal, I'm expecting the 2 wood now to go minimum 10 yards after the hop. Maybe about 15, so I'd probably actually want to drop down because that wind is slightly angled. I'm definitely going to outrun the hole. I'll drop it down to the 5 wood, and I'll play a fast downswing again, give it the extra yardage. Ooh, and I'm after getting it very fast again, so I've screwed myself up. But again, I'm playing for par. Oh, it's going to get on, is it? Oh, it's not going to hold the green. Right, so here's a fine example if it does hold. Now it's going to trickle off into the fringe. So now I'm allowed to chip, flop, whatever I want to do, pitch 24 yards dead. Because no matter what the distance is, if we were just another 2 inches forward on the green, I'd be putting that. So, like, I mean, I'm trying to think, 24. What the hell is that going to be? Multiply that by 3. 60. 72 foot putt. Somewhere, I think I'm getting that right. 72 foot putt. And I'd take that putt, and it's a 1 foot up as well. But we're going to take a flop shot here. Flop shots, it's 24 yard carry. It's I'm not even going to count in the elevation. So 24 yards should be touching down about to 24 yards. I'm going to put about half loft on that. Allow for the hop forward after it touches down. Yeah, I'd say about half should be good enough. Full swing. Good swing as well, so kind of check fairly quick, and it does. As you can see, it's made it to 24. I put half yards on, or half loft on, pull back that extra few yards, let it get up to the hole. That's no more than a right edge. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to skip up to the putt on the 18th hole, and then show you what I do after a round for a multi-round event. In we go. So I'll talk to you now in just a second. Alright, so here we are now, 18th green, just a little short putt, 5-foot tap. Gonna finish the round at 9 under par there. Where I left off just a moment ago was a 5 under, I think it was. So I just kind of blasted my way through. But this is what I do now. Obviously, I'm going to see the leaderboard now. So 16 under, pretty good scores there. Yeah, 16 under, 15 under, 14, 13 going, counting our way down. But yeah, what did we get? Back 9 wasn't too bad, 5 under. So as I say, 5 under, that's usually what I aim for on each half of the course. Obviously I was putting myself in some different positions there to demonstrate different methods. But what I always do at the end of any round, so any multi-round event in a society, if I am continuing on, obviously I'll click X to advance, get through the XP area. Instead of coming down to, just let this push off to the side, instead of coming down to advance to round 2, I'm not going to do that, just in case I do it by mistake. On PS4, I'm going to press circle, so Xbox, or if you're using an Xbox controller on PC, it's going to be B. Again, keyboard mouse, don't know what it be. I'm going to bring myself back to this screen, and I'm going to select the event again. So last round was normal and normal for the green, for the fairways and green firmness. Green speed was fast, playing 163, and the wind was medium, and I believe, if I remember correct, it was an easterly direction. So what have we got now this time? We have got, for this round, right, we've got normal greens, or normal fairways, sorry, but the greens are a little bit firmer. So now straight away already I know, right, I'm going to get a bit of a firmer bounce. They're still playing fast, so it's going to be a bit firmer and a little bit more rollout. The winds have dropped down to be low, so the winds are going to get no more than 5-6 miles per hour. If they may even die down to 0 altogether at some points in the course, some points in the round. I can always remember that wind speed has changed direction as well to be southeast, but because the winds are low, I'm not really concerned too much about that. I never really worry too much about the direction, to be perfectly honest. There was one other thing that I was going to mention really quickly, and it has gone out of my head. But pretty much anyway, as I say, that's pretty much how I approach every single round that I'm doing. Because obviously I play pretty much only society events when I'm not recording like true sim challenge videos or anything like that. It's very rare that I actually play casual rounds. If you do take on any of these demonstrations that I've shown in the video to try them out yourselves, and if they work well for you, or if they don't, like, I mean, that's to say, what may work for me, or what does work for me, what I find works for me, may well not work for you. It may well work for you. It may work better for you as well. Let me know how you feel, how you get on with them if you do try them out. What I'll try and do currently, it is, at the time of this, it is 6th of March, Friday 6th of March, so just this video will be up now in a couple of days. What I'll try and do in the next week or two is I'll get a day where I can do a live stream. So if you're able to catch the live stream, feel free to ask me any questions on the live stream, and I can demonstrate them live in that video, or live in that stream. Jesus Christ, I need to go to bed. I need to get more than a few hours sleep each night. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Hopefully you did enjoy it if you made it this far. This has been a video showing how, as I say, how I approach each shot and each round, and how I personally play, putt wise and stuff. And I shall talk to you all next week in the next one. Until then, have yourself a good week. I hope you had a good weekend, and bye for now.